The first thing I asked Copilot to do is create a Node.js function that uses the MURAL REST API to read the widgets in a mural. And that function basically looks pretty good. So then I need to make sure to call that function. I have used the MURAL REST API before, so I already know there's a problem in this function. The API endpoint there looks pretty good, but the way that the return data is being handled is not correct. The JSON fields are not correct. And sure enough, when it runs, it returns an empty array. So I put in a little prompt telling Copilot to troubleshoot the problem, and I like what it did. It added some console.log print statements. And here's what I can see when I run the script. Data coming back from the API is good. So the endpoint was good, as I said before. What comes back is a value field that is an array of JSON objects. When we look back at the code, you can see it's looking for json.data.widgets. That's not right. That's not surprising, really, because the MURAL REST API reference information would have been just a tiny, tiny piece of the vast amounts of data used to pre-train these large language models. So this is a perfect example where we can use the fetch feature to pull information from a web page into the prompt for context. Specifically, we want to pull in the API reference for this widgets endpoint. Unfortunately, that didn't work. So what I ended up doing was going to the reference API page, and I just copied the sample output that's there, and that worked. So what that tells me is that there's something about that web page that made it hard for the model to extract the information that it wanted. And sure enough, when I go look at this page source, however they implemented their web page, it must be dynamic content or something, because I can't find that sample output when I look at the page source. So this is probably the kind of thing that the model's seeing when it makes a GET request to pull this web page in. So this is not necessarily a failure of the fetch functionality itself, but a failure of the API reference information to make the information available in a format that the large language model can easily access.